You ever have one of those moments where you realize the whole world's about to flip upside down and you're the one holding the lever? The smell of old leather and even older books in the federal courthouse should have felt intimidating, but I was just annoyed, sitting there across from District Judge Jamie, showing him years' worth of evidence about our HOA president's corruption, when my phone buzzed with a security alert that made my blood run cold. There on the tiny screen, Brenda Thornwick, that same HOA president, was forcing her way into my lake cabin, not 200 meters away. Yeah, that happened. The sound of splintering wood came through my phone speaker as she kicked in the back door. Judge Jamie actually leaned over to watch, eyebrows raised. "Is that live?" he asked. Brenda had no clue federal agents were already staked out around my property or that the judge himself was watching her break in real time. She also had no idea her 3-year campaign of harassing military families was about to earn her a federal prison jumpsuit. See, when you pick the wrong veteran's home to mess with while he's sitting with a federal judge, well, let's just say, timing is everything. Let me back up a sec. What would you do if your HOA president broke into your house while you were building a federal case against her? Drop a comment. Tell me where you're watching from, cause I know some of you have crossed paths with HOA tyrants before. I'm Marcus Kelly, and 6 months ago, I honestly thought I'd found heaven on earth. After 30 years in telecom engineering, a couple good patents, and a solid payout, I retired early to fix up my grandfather's cabin on Pine Lake, Montana. The place had been ours since '67. Weathered cedar walls, a hand-built stone fireplace, a dock that cut right into glassy water so clear you could count the trout. Mornings there felt like a reward. Strong coffee, steam rising, the calls of loons echoing off the still water. My wife, Sarah, dreamed of turning the place into a retreat for veterans. Our daughter, Emma, she staked out the loft bedroom overlooking the lake. Then came Brenda Thornwick. Picture a woman who treats a leather folder like it's a badge and drives a white SUV so clean you'd swear it's straight off the lot every day. She'd been HOA president 6 years, ran the town's biggest real estate office, and had a face like she was constantly smelling something sour. When she introduced herself, I caught the pine in the air, but her perfume overpowered it. Even nature smelled less real around her. "Welcome to Pine Lake," she said like it was a threat, not a greeting. "I trust you'll familiarize yourself with our community standards." Community standards. Yeah, right? 3 weeks later, I get this certified letter fancy envelope, thick paper charging me $1,500 for unauthorized modifications. The violation? My grandfather's dock extension, built in 1972. Brenda called to explain. Recent satellite imaging revealed non-compliant structures. I could hear her tapping her nails on her desk. All waterfront modifications require current HOA approval. Thing is, the HOA didn't even exist until 1985. I had the original permits, the survey, old Polaroids of me, and my dad fishing off that dock when I was 10. You'd think that would end it, right? Nope. I went to the next HOA meeting, laid out all my proof photos, permits, timeline. 15 people sitting on folding chairs in a room that smelled like burnt coffee and floor wax. Brenda barely glanced at the evidence. "Grandfathered structures require annual compliance fees," she said flatly. $500 a month for historical maintenance. That's $6,000 a year for a dock that was perfectly legal. Right then, I saw what was really going on. Whispers among neighbors always stopped when Brenda glanced their way. An elderly neighbor, Gladys, quietly said she'd seen the same trouble with other military families. After the meeting, I did some digging. 3 veteran families have been fined in the last 2 years. 2 of them sold their homes. Both sales? Brenda's company handled. That's when suspicion set in. This wasn't about rule set, it was about pushing out vets. And that's not just bureaucracy, you know what I mean? That's discrimination. And when you start discriminating against veterans, now you're flirting with federal crimes. But I had to learn that lesson the hard way. 2 weeks later, Brenda shows up at my cabin with a guy named Dale, calls him the county inspector. His badge was crooked, his shirt looked like it survived 3 decades of bad laundry. "Routine safety inspection," Brenda announced, barging right past me. "We've received multiple complaints From who? I was the only one using the property. Dale starts pointing at perfectly legal outlets every time he hesitated. Brenda would tap that leather folder, and the clicking made my teeth hurt. This outlet's dangerously close to the waterline, Dale mumbled, pointing to an outlet 15 feet from shore. Totally decode, installed by yours truly, who happened to have an electrical engineering degree. This fire pit is completely unpermitted, Brenda added dramatically, pointing at my granddad's old ring of stones. I had photos of 3 generations roasting marshmallows there, but Brenda wasn't interested in family. The violation list grew. $1, $500 here, $1,200 there for $1,200 total, and $300 a month in monitoring fees. I couldn't sleep that night. So I did what any telecom engineer does: researched. Turns out, all Montana inspectors must be state licensed, and you can check the database online. No Dale. But I did find Dale Morrison, real estate agent at Surprise Thornwick Properties. That's when I filed a complaint with the licensing board and switched every interaction with Brenda to email. No more he said, she said. But Brenda turned up the heat. Anonymous noise complaints started rolling in, always about my legal work, always during business hours. Parking signs appeared out of nowhere, suddenly making my place a pain to access. I installed security cameras, caught Brenda and Dale measuring my dock at 11 p.m., flashlights and all. And they weren't just casing my place, they hit 3 other veteran homes, too. But the real smoking gun? Audio of Brenda in my driveway, saying, "These military types always crack under sustained pressure. A few more violations, and he'll sell below market." I had footage, audio, everything. I took it to the State Real Estate Commission and started connecting the dots. Find a vet family, invent violations, pile on fines until they sell cheap, flip the house for a tidy profit. Brenda fired back with a cease and desist letter, all legal threats and fake firm names. My mailbox got spray painted with "troublemaker" in red. My family started to break in. Asked to move. Sarah flinched at every noise. I kept digging and found out Brenda had passed most of her HOA rule changes without the needed homeowner majority. The final straw? Someone tried to break into my cabin while I was out. Security footage caught Brenda's SUV parked down the street, engine running. I realized she'd been tracking my every move. When Brenda called an emergency HOA meeting to try and foreclose on my property, I reached out to every neighbor I trusted. Gladys told me her late husband, Harold, Korean War vet, went through the same hell. He died of a heart attack, 6 months into fighting Brenda. At the meeting, Brenda's allies stacked the vote. She projected photos of my property with red circles, read out testimonials about how I was a threat. One even used a photo of me in my Army dress uniform as a warning. She claimed veterans were assets or liabilities in family communities. But 3 neighbors spoke up for me, and I recorded every second. During a break, I caught Brenda whispering to Dale about clearing out the Kellys and that Martinez family, then marketing Pine Lake as an upscale community. No more PTSD cases. That was it. I made it clear I'd appeal and let them know discrimination against veterans is a federal crime. On the way out, Gladys pressed a number into my hand. Her son-in-law, Judge William Jamie. Turns out he'd been tracking this pattern statewide, over 20 HOAs targeting vets the same way. He told me my evidence was the missing link for a federal case, but he needed me to keep playing along while the feds built their net. From then on, I was bait in a federal racketeering and civil rights trap. Agents wire my property with cameras, gave me a mic, and tracked Brenda's every move. Turns out she was running the same scam in 6 states, laundering millions through fake fines and forced sales. All I had to do was look desperate and let her get sloppier. And she did. Power lines cut, water pipes sabotaged, flyers painting me as unstable. Contractors were warned away. But every single incident was logged, photographed, traced. My allies, the other veterans, kept records, photos, even night vision logs. We built a case airtight enough to make the FBI smile. Finally, Brenda and Dale broke in, planting fake evidence while the feds watched live. The moment they left, agents swept and caught them red-handed, mid-crime, audio and video rolling. Dale folded in hours, sang to the prosecutors, and Brenda's network collapsed like a house of cards. Over 200 veteran families targeted, millions in illegal profits seized. The press conference was national news, federal indictments, restitution for every family, new laws drafted to prevent this ever happening again. I watched Pete, the Desert Storm vet forced to sell his place, get a check big enough to buy back his dream home. Today, I sit on my grandfather's old dock, coffee in hand, family safe inside, and think about what it means to fight back. Pine Lake is a true community now. Every HOA board meeting is streamed online. Every rule is transparent. Veterans from all over move here because they know they're welcome. We even started a scholarship fund for military kids harassed by HOAs anywhere in America. So what's the lesson? If your HOA nightmare feels like more than bad luck, if you've got stories, drop them in the comments. Your battle might help someone else win theirs. And if you want to see the next fight, maybe a city councilor trying to steal a whole park, smash that subscribe, hit the bell. Trust me, the next story is a wild one.